Hey Campus Georgia, back in the man cave. Wow. 3 weeks of here, there, everywhere. Holiday season is over, and yep, happy 2026, right? Gonna be a good year, allegedly. So I know you want to know what's coming up this year, right? Well, I have no idea. I know there will be videos. What they'll be, who knows? So, well, let's check it out. Yeah, I have no idea what this new year is going to bring. But right now, last year brought me these. Yeah, look at them. These little beauties all came from my good friend Keith, subscriber, lives just up the road from me. And if you don't know Keith, him and I, we do a lot of knife hunting, vintage stuff, out in them antique stores and whatnot. But hey, here we are. He gave me these in November last year, I think. No, like December last year. And what they are is, as you can see, we got a straight razor, and this guy. Very cool knife, a little unusual, and you probably have heard of them. And these guys, maybe not so much. So let's have a look at them. So as you saw, there were 2 straight razors and a nice 2-blade pocket knife. And here's the first straight razor. Now, when he gave me these and I looked at them, obviously the handle on this one, yeah, it's a little different, right? Now, I think it's bamboo. At first I thought it was meant to be bone, like bones joined together, like a finger joint or something like that. But I believe it's meant to be bamboo. It is not. It's not real bamboo. And you can see the blade pretty beat up. Well, not beat up, but rusty and whatnot. I was thinking, I've the only thing I've ever done with a straight razor was put a new handle on it and looked up the information on them. If you remember, you guys had been bothering me about straight razors and seeing them at the antique shows and just passing them over. So you guys beat me down and I started looking at them. And I got to say, they're interesting. There's a lot to them. I thought, how much can there be to this, right? Well, just like pocket knives, there's a bazillion of them. And they're all different. I mean, they all look like this, but they're all different, made by different people, different blade shapes, different handles. Very cool and pretty interesting. And you know what? It's a sharp and shiny. Will I ever use one? No. So, I thought I wanted to clean this guy up. Never done that before. There's not really much you can do with the well of the handle. I'm not sure if that's what it's called. But you can see this guy, it's got some interesting things on it. Now, if you're not familiar with straight razors, they do have tang stamps and markings on them. One of the reasons is some of the makers of these blades were true cutlery companies. They made knives and blades and cutlery, your tableware stuff or kitchenware, that sort of thing. And they were pretty proud of it, and they had these stamps and everything. Well, a lot of these have that, and a lot of these were made by them. And there's all kinds out here. Now, if you're wondering about this guy, I had no idea who it was, had to look it up, and it says here, and you can barely see it there. Can you see there, just there? Hopefully I'll get a better picture of it for you here. And this one is a Knapp and Spencer Co. straight razor. The first thing I noticed was, if you look on the blade there, can you see it? It says Regent on the blade there. It's kind of etched in there. And that's another common thing, where on some of their blades, they make a whole bunch of different ones, not just these guys, but everybody. And some of them are more collectible than others. This one happens to be a Regent, which was very popular with this company, and it's pretty well sought after. Keith gave it to me. So who is Knapp and Spencer, right? Everybody wants to know that. Well, they're a company, they're actually a wholesale company. They didn't make the knives. Sound familiar? You know, kind of like Craftsman. They had their knives, but they didn't make them. They had somebody else make them. Well, these guys did the same thing. What they did was they contracted with a lot of German and in England, and they went to the big guys, the most popular brands who had really good steel that they were using for their blades, and they were popular. So that's what they did. They were called what is a jobbing house. They were a marketing wholesale company. They would order hundreds of blades and then put the handles on and then market them out there. And they were very popular. These guys were actually in Sioux City, Iowa, just down the road, well, south of me. And they were big in the late 1800s to early 1900s. So they've got a bit of history. And like I said, they've become very popular. People look for these all the time. So I'm kind of excited to have this one. Now this one that has the Regent on it, I showed you there, you can see it there. I'll try and get it. Was a popular one. Regent was one of several popular brand names that they used. And there was Regent, the Challenge, and the Square Deal, I think, were the three most popular that they put out. So very cool, very quick look at it. The Square Deal razor that they made was probably their most popular, and really the reason for that was who made the blade. And it was a guy very well known in Sheffield, England, and his name was I'm going to pronounce this right, maybe. That's one thing I'm going to do this year, is try and get the pronunciations. I don't know if you can tell, I've got a cold and been suffering from flu. Wouldn't you know it? Great start to the year. This guy's name was George Worstonholm. This. And he was very well known in Sheffield for his blades. So they went to the top guys for them. So there's this guy, and this guy needs to be cleaned up. Now, to be honest, never done that. Not sure how to go about it. I don't want to just willy-nilly go at it with sandpaper and things like that. I got to figure out how you sharpen one of these things. And I'm looking at the blades here, and they do have an edge. So there's that. I'm going to have to find out what angles, how it's done. What does this mean? What is that all about? Well, they are different styles of blade. Now this one, which has this divot or half moon or half circle cut out at the top here, there's like 6 of the main most common ones, and the one with that half cut out, that half circle cut out, is called a hook point. And that's what they're talking about as this hook point. What does that mean? Well, there's a specific reason they did that. What the hook point was for, between you and me, not so sure. Because all those different ways that they notched the frontier was for a very specific reason. Got to look into that, right? Anywho, so we got to clean this guy up, make him look nice and clean, and figure out how to clean him up so he looks a little bit more presentable. And you can see, if you look down there, you can see the shapes. Now there's different shapes of the way the curves, the grinds on these things are as well. So there's a lot to them. We got to fix this guy. Now if you look at this guy, and oh, by the way, with razors, they talk about the length of the blade, okay, and the hole closed, and then the blade, how deep the blade is, tip to bottom here, well, spine to the cutting edge. And that's how you can tell if you're not sure what razor it is. You want to look for those measurements. The handles are all pretty typical. You can fancy them up. 8 times out of 10, they're pretty plain, just like this. And you know what? They work. And if you think it's just 2 pieces put together, think again. I'll put a link below to the video where I made a handle for it. It was a challenge. Anywho, here we are. We got another one. And this guy, pretty cool, very nice, handles in pretty good condition. It's got some scratching on there on name or whatever. I'm hoping I'll be able to reduce that. If not, oh well. But this says on the one side, made in Germany, okay, and on the other side it says W.H. Morley and Sons. Well, who are they? Well, glad you asked, because they were actually owned, W.H. Morley and Sons was owned by a high-end import company called Adolf Castor and Brothers. Who are they? Yeah, wait a minute. You got it. Camillus. That's it. We'll stick with that this year. They imported the blades. And you can see here it says W.H. Morley on there, and I'll try and get a better picture of it for you up here. But they were owned by Castor and Brothers, who were the owners of Camillus. Camillus was the holding company, and they sold these in the US. They imported them in, put the handles and whatnot on, and imported them. So I thought that's a nice touch. You know me, how I hate Camillus. Well, they're my favorite guys. I really like them. I like their stuff. So Keith gave me one that was owned by Camillus. What can I say? Same thing with this guy. Needs to be cleaned up. Doesn't have any markings or anything. The blade edge here is a little rough. Not a big deal. Hopefully, I'm going to look it up before I start on how to sharpen. But it needs to be cleaned up. And, I don't want to be just willy-nilly on it. I want to make sure I'm doing it right. And then, of course, clean the handle up and make them look new again. I am thinking about a slip for them. I would really like to make a nice slip for a straight razor. Pretty small, pretty tight, so it can go in your travel bag or whatever. Or, people that use them would put them in their cabinets in the kitchen or whatever, in the bathroom or whatever. And I thought that would be a nice thing to do. Make a slip for a straight razor. Number 2. Then we have this guy. See that? This is basically a trapper, right? But it's such an unusual spay blade, and it has a nice big clip on it. So I'm saying trapper, although I'm not sure if that's what they intended it for. And it's got this unusual handle on it, which is a pretty cool look. And I will admit, when I first saw this, I thought it was a colonial knife, because I have one that's similar, except the jigging on it is bigger. So, looked at the tag stamp, and there you have it there. Jowika. Right? Jowika, Republic of Ireland. I've got, I think, another 2 of them. And I like their stuff. It's pretty cool. And they're pretty well known. There's some fun things about it, though. Sorry, struggling with my voice here. Jowika was actually a German company that opened I want to say branch factory in the Republic of Ireland. And I believe it was Listo in 1960. They opened it. And it was, they wanted to work out of Ireland. I'm pretty sure they had reasons for that. It may have been less expensive. And in the 60s, well, Now, the parent company is this. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. And they're in Germany. And they wanted to make just like everybody did back in the day, a less expensive knife. And they did that by making these. I mean, they were well known for the knives they made in Germany, were very popular, well made. And I've got to tell you, if this is their cheap version, I'd like to have seen their real ones, because this is a pretty nice knife. It's a little beat up, and you know, I want to say trapper, but to be honest, I don't know. Right now, this is bothering me, but it does have the look of a spay and a clip, which is typically trapper. And it just has a blank shield on it there, nothing fancy, and the bolsters on the back here, and a big sweeping clip. Now, it's been pretty badly abused, you can see there. And I got to tell you, they have some age on them. Now, if you look at the spay, I use the term loosely, they got this long pull on it, and a half moon on the, or the crescent nail neck on the clip. Jowika, by the way, is pretty popular as a vintage knife, collectible. The majority of them are from like the 1960s to 70s, but they were actually, the factory in Ireland actually was around from 1960 to 1967. So that era. But a pretty cool knife, just need to clean it up. It's in pretty good condition. There is literally no rust on this thing. It's just scratched up and needs to be cleaned up and shined and cleaned well and that sort of thing. Nice easy clean up and give it a good edge, clean up the edge and sharpen it, and see if we can reduce a lot of the obvious scratching on there without taking too much metal off. You don't want to do that. So there you go, let's have at it. So as you can see here, the blade is pretty bad. Okay, what I don't want to take all the metal off to get rid of those. It'll just take too much off. I'm going to start with 180 and just clean it up as much as I can, reduce them as much as possible, and just clean it up in general, and hopefully it'll look better, and then of course sharpen it. So remember, always support your blade. And I'm just going to go back and forth and up and down. Notice it also, you can feel the scratches on the edge here. So I'm just going to give it a quick run. And then we got this side, and you can see pretty bad. This looks a little shinier simply because I just went over it quickly. This one not as much. But if you persist, it will look better. It won't look perfect though. That's just too much to get rid of. Now obviously the 180 introducing more scratches. Don't press too hard. We just want to get it to shine a little bit better than it is, and it shines already. So I've got that 180. Now I'm going to go to 5 to 600 when I'm done with the 180 on both blades, and I'm going to work my way through them. This one, pretty good, pretty clean. I don't even need 180 on it. We'll leave that and we'll go straight to 500-600 very lightly and very quickly. Give it a quick rub. Not too much, you don't want to scratch it up. And now we're going to go back to this one, 5 to 600. Man, it's really bad. It's really deep. I'm not going to get anything out of this, but we'll persist. So now I'm going 12 to 15 Same thing again, repeat. And so here we are here, and you can still see the scratches. They're not standing out as much because basically you reduce them a little bit, but they're still obvious. You can actually feel them. So it was pretty rough on it. You can actually see on the edge of the blade, if I can show you, along the cutting edge, you can actually see the grind marks. So you can still sharpen it and it'll be fine. It just, doesn't look right with all that scratching on it. What do you do? So now we got to do the rest. Got to do the spay blade. And I'm just going to go straight to 15 with that. And then we're going to go to 10,000. Just to give it a nice shine. Obviously never sharpened this one. Otherwise it would be all badly damaged like the other one was, which means you didn't use the spade as much, which was expected. And when you have a blade in this good a condition, it doesn't take much. It was shiny already, so we've got that. I want to look and just clean out the well. The way you do that is very carefully. Tape up they're sharp, and let's get to the well. Now all I want to do in the well here is I'm going to use this 5 to 600. I could fold it over, but it won't fit in because it's a double blade and you've got the liner in between. But you can force it in on one side and then turn it around when you finish doing that. He says, wow, I can't even get it in here. Okay. Let's go to regular sandpaper. This is just a wet dry 600. Fold it over a couple of times like this. Thicken it up and it'll go right in there and rub against both sides. Make sure you tape this up because you're going to be going back and forth. And get it to rub on the very bottom of the well. And don't forget these little end pieces here where it curves up. Clean them up as well. People will see them. Doesn't take a lot. You just want to get rid of any buildup on there. Now I'm just going to clean up the edges here. Don't press too hard. Just go slowly. Press too hard, you're going to mess this up to the point where if you rub too hard, it'll melt. And now you've got a nice shiny liner and the edges. You work the spine. Same thing again. Shine coming in on the spine. Work the bolsters very lightly. This is 5 to 600. Don't press hard. You're just getting rid of any buildup. And now we go to 2,000, then 10,000. Same thing again. And here we are at 2,000. You can see it shines up nicely. And now I'm going to go to 10,000 on everything. So now we got the spay blade here, and it's in pretty good condition, so it shouldn't need a lot of this. This is just going to give it a little bit more shine. And be careful you don't catch your finger on the tip. If you put this in there, you just hold it down like that. You can do that edge without catching the tip. So now, there it is there. You can see, obviously, the scratches. But if you look at the spay blade, very clean. 10,000 does make a lot of difference. But I'm going to put mothers on this because it smooths out this a lot more. This gives it a more even shine to it. I'm running out of mothers. I need to order some. I'll do that tonight. Oh, that wasn't smart. You can see, if I want that off, it really smooths out the shine a lot better. Doesn't get rid of it, but it looks better. And you can see the shine is a little smoother. It's not perfect because of the scratches, but it'll do. I'm going to do the rest. And there you have it there. Clean up nicely. You can see the bright spots and the not so bright where the scratches are, but it makes it a little bit less obvious. Obviously on this one, very clean, very nice, but you can tell this is pretty good knife because of the way it cleans up the steel. You can tell the difference when you're cleaning them up. You know, as you shine. I also use mothers on the handle, by the way, very little, very lightly, and you can see cleaned up very nice. Now I just need to oil this and work these. It's got a bit of snap there, this one not so much, but I suspect we just need to clean out around the bolsters here with some oil. That'll help. I just use regular mineral oil. You can use vegetable oil, whatever you'd like to use, whatever works for you. Just remember, if you're going to use this for food prep, be careful what you use when you clean them up. And if you do use something like mothers and you're going to use it for food prep afterwards, you can wash it. Give it a good wash in some warm water, warm soapy, light soapy water, and just clean off all the excess on the polish, the residue it leaves behind. And when you put some oil on it like this and you work it, it'll pull the oil. You'll see the oil will get black. And what it's doing as you're working it, it's squishing out the sides and it's pulling all the nasties with it. So hopefully it'll improve the snap on this guy. The spay not too bad, but typical on the main used blade. There's a little bit, it's coming back. But you'll find that the spring is weaker, especially on older knives, because that's where they get used the most, is on that main blade. So this guy's all ready, just need to sharpen it, and we'll do that when we do the razors. So now we got to look at this guy. And to be honest, I really don't know how to tackle this. I'm looking and there's a little bit of rust on it up top here. Not so much on the blade. And there's, patinaing and things like that. But I'm thinking I am just going to touch this up with 1500. And then I'm going to go to 10,000. That's all I want to do, and I want to stay away from the edge, the actual cutting edge. On the handle here, I'm going to try and get rid of this writing. You can see it on there, scratched in. We'll see if we can get rid of that, or at least reduce it. So let's see what we can do here. Very lightly. There's definitely pitting on it. It's cleaned it up a little bit. It's not as obvious. And then I'm going to go to 10,000 when I'm done here. I'm going to work my way. It's really bad on the top here. I don't know if you can see that. Clean this top up and these edges. And then so I'm going to use 5 to 600 on the top here. It's really bad, to get rid of the heavy stuff, and then we'll go to the higher grain. Probably 2,000, then we'll go to 10. Just want to get rid of that rough stuff. And if you're wondering where Mary is, she's still upset with me, so she jumps onto my chair and tears it apart. That's the way she rolls. She's glad I'm back, but she won't admit it. What do? She's still ignoring me. She decided to grace us with her presence. I'm trying to stay away from the actual shaving edge here. Oh, you don't have any water, do you? I wonder if there's any left in here. No, there isn't. Let me get her some water. There you are. Drink your water. I didn't run up the stairs for nothing. She likes to drink out of that. The people who watch her for me don't know about that, so they didn't fill it. They just filled a regular bowl upstairs. So the top looks a lot cleaner now. Got to do this side. Oh, there's writing on this handle. Interesting. It says registered. See that? Didn't see that before. Wonder what that's about. They do clean up very nice. This steel is a really nice steel. There's a lot of rust in here. I'm wondering if that's because water sits there when they clean it or use it. Reading up on this, they say to wash it when you're done using it and then put oil on it. They say like a baby oil or mineral oil on the blade just to protect it, which makes sense. You can do that with your knives as well. By the way, it's just a pin through here. There's no bolster or anything. Be careful putting pressure on it. Okay, I've got most of the rust off, and in here, which was really finicky to get in there. Ideally, you would unpin it and clean it off, but these pins are pretty cool. If you look carefully, they're like a tube with a pin in it. See that? I don't have anything to replace that with, so I'd rather leave them in. I mean, you could just use a regular pin, but I want these are obviously original. Now I'm going to go 10,000. I can see why these hold an edge. seems like it's really hard. It is carbon, obviously. Feels like you're dealing with stainless. So this is called the hook or the tail of the blade. Learn something new, which is always a good thing. Who would have thought that whole old dog knew tricks? So here we are here, and it does look a lot cleaner. It's pitted, but it's not a lot, but they do clean up nice. Look at that. So now let's see what we can do with the handle and getting rid of these scratch marks with somebody's name, or can't really see what it says. Oh, John somebody. Lightly with the 500. That scratch is deep, very deep. Well, we got rid of most of it. Look at that. I mean, there's still, you can see a little bit of scratching, but it doesn't look like somebody put their name on it. It just looks like regular wear and tear. That was at 500 to 600, and it took quite a lot. So 12 to 1500, smoothing it off, and we'll work our way up. Starting to look a lot better now. I'm going to go to 10,000. Let's see what we can do. You want to go nice and slowly, because the 10,000 will really heat up the handle. So take your time, be patient. Story of my life. See, here we are at 10,000. It's got a nice shine to it. And I'm going to use mothers on here now, not on the blade. I don't think you should polish your blade, because that's what you're scraping your face with. So I don't think mothers is a good idea. You just want it to look clean. There's no rust or anything, and of course oil it and then sharpen it. So let me put some mothers on here and let's see how we do on the handle. Same thing again with mothers. Go slowly. This will heat up even faster. And you don't need to push down anything, really lightly. I'm running out of time this evening. It's late. And I can feel I'm getting all clogged up again. So there you are. Looks a lot better, and that handle really cleaned up nicely. Look at that. You can hardly see where the scratching was. Very nice. Look at this thing. Very nice. Like that. Now this guy. Not a lot we can do with the handle except clean it up. It's not really dirty or scratched or anything. I just think some mothers on it will clean it up. But the blade, lordy, needs some work. So let's do that, and I'll show you the end result. I'm going to just repeat what I just did. On this blade, it has... Can you see that jumping there? And to get in there, to get rid of the rust, I'm just going to be using my wire brush that I use on the knives when I dip them. So hopefully we can clean up those somewhat and get in between the jumping. So here we are at 10,000 now. It did clean up but it's really pitted. Can you see that? Now the Regents, you can see a little clearer. Let me get it for you. Of course, the light is not helping. But it actually stands out more. Can you see it there? The handle, I'm just going to use mothers on it. So I'm going to do that now. Man, this is such a nice knife, and I can't, a lot of pitting on it, but what do you do? So let me polish the handle and hopefully get it to shine more. And there's the handle. It's a little shinier. I did have to spend some time on the well on this thing. There was a lot of build-up in there. But we got it cleaned up. I like this one. It's got the, this is the clean off. The Regent. It's kind of a cool blade. It's got the jimping underneath on top. Very cool. Very cool. But hey, let's see if we can at least attempt to sharpen. There you go, campers. Here is the trapper. Use the term loosely. I'm assuming that's what it is. From Jowika. I assume that's how it's pronounced, out of Ireland. Although they're not Irish. They are a German knife company. Cleaned up nicely. The main blade, this clip really beat up. It got scratched really badly. You know, I never understand that, but I suppose, you know, this is fairly old, got well used, and back in the day they didn't have the stuff we had back in the day when I was young. Ha! So there you go, cleaned up nicely. I like it, very nice. And addition to my collection. Like I said, this will make 3, I think, that I've come across. Then you have this guy, the Regent. It was really tough to clean, but there's a lot of pitting It's not deep, but it's enough to mark it. You can see all the dark spots. And I really did not want to go too deep with this. You can see the Regent there. Very cool. Little pattern around it. Pretty cool. And just a nice blade. It's got a lot to it. I mean, I've got jimping there. Jimping actually on the bottom. If you can see that. You see there? So that, how do you hold these things? Like that. Or like that. Or like that. I don't know. But it gives you just a bit of grip on it. And of course that half circle there. Very nice. Pretty cool handle. Something different. Bamboo lookalike. Just cleaned it up. I like these. They're pretty cool. And, you know, they are sharp and shiny. So if I come across one and I haven't heard of it before, I'll probably get it just because I want to find out more about them. They are interesting, and, you know, they can make nice projects, replacing the handles, that sort of thing. And then we have this, the W.H. Morley. And, you know, it's kind of scratched up. Managed to clean it up quite a lot. You can still see, if you look carefully, there is some scratching, but it doesn't look like somebody put their name on anything like that, just like wear and tear. Very nice. Blade was in good nick, so can't complain about that. Nice clean handle, very common. And like I said, I think it's horn, butler horn, I assume. Seems to be the popular one. And I'll look at these, very plain, no jimping or anything on it, very straightforward. Nice and clean, flat front there. What that means, I don't know, but it means something. Almost comes to a point there. I looked up maintenance and care and how to sharpen it. And there was a couple of videos that I came across and I watched them. And they say Wheatstone 800. And you actually, which was interesting, I didn't think about that. They said if you look at the end of the blade, you see how it's thick, curves in. If you rest that on the Wheatstone and lay the blade down, that's the angle you want, and you just slide it across. You always go in the grain on the Wheatstone, and then obviously when you strop, you go backwards. You don't strop into it, you strop from behind. And it seemed to work. How good it is, I don't know. I shaved some hairs off my arm. A little nervous about that because I bleed easily and I can't afford an oops. So I have to be careful with that. But very cool from my friend Keith. Much appreciated, my friend. 3 nice little projects. And of course, nice additions to the to my collection. Very nice. 2 new razors, companies I haven't heard of, which doesn't say a lot. But it was pretty cool to find out that, you know, these guys, the W.H. Morley, Camillus, we decided on, right? Actually owned it. They did the importing on them and put them under a different name. So thought that was pretty cool. No, I go by style of knife. So razors are razors, right? So there you go. You all be safe out there. Start to a new year. Let's keep it nice and safe. You know, these razors, I don't know how, but they have such a sharp edge. And I mean, these guys were pretty beat up in that, but they still had an edge on them, and it was pretty sharp. So be careful of that. Tape them up when you're doing stuff with them and that sort of thing. Just say. And don't forget, like, share, subscribe. You know the story. Pretty sure I'll be back. Truth be told, I have 3 projects going. 2 of them I just need to edit, Well, I got to load them and do all that stuff and then edit them. And another one, I'm halfway through. It's taking longer than I thought it would. It's one of those projects, I do everything by hand, and I didn't think about how long it'll take me to sand down stuff. So there's that. Videos coming. A couple of member stuff. Oh, don't forget, if you'd like to support the channel, I do have the membership. If you would like to support the channel, you can click on the join button below and it'll tell you all about it. If it's something you want to do, great. If not, nothing changes. Just say. Thanks for watching. Always, always appreciated. And we'll see you again soon.